Syndicate, Steelers, Pittsburgh, the two back. Welcome, guys. G'day. Was that confusing? Well, we need to talk about communication. G'day, guys. Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. I'm your host, Mark. Hopefully, that wasn't too confusing, but today we are talking about communication. Communication is very key. Now, I'm going to talk about communication with the Steelers, and I want to focus more or less basically just on defense, and I want to focus on a few things today. I want to focus on the cornerback room, and I want to focus on the secondary, and I want to focus on the secondary coach, Grady Brown, who had an interview with Missy Matthews. And I also want to focus too. This is bad communication, what I'm saying now, but I want to focus on Cameron Sutton too. There was a video the other day with Cameron Sutton. He was mic'd up and he was walking around practice and going through the OTAs, talking amongst the fellas. And one of his key lines was talk, or talk with them like that, right? And it was communication. So I wanted to today start the video off as weird as I can. That was really hard, actually. That took me about 4 or 5 goes to get that going from backwards. Syndicate, Steelers, Pittsburgh, the two back. Welcome, guys. G'day. We need to talk about communication with the Steelers and with the defense. This defense, in my opinion, I still hold this true, even though Stephon Tuitt is out now, being, retired, and I thought he was going to be top 10. I still think there's a chance this defense can be top 10 based on the players that we have with TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, Highsmith. You know who they are, Miles Jack. But I want to focus on the secondary and what it means and how to communicate with each other. Now, I don't play football, right? I put my hand up. I don't play football. I've never played a down in my life. I've played flag football. I've thrown the pigskin. I'm just taking this as a outsider's perspective, looking out to judging these players on how they would do things in certain ways. And when we watch the players play on TV, you definitely see that. You see that when there is miscommunication, like last year. I think James Pierre got caught out a few times. Wasn't communicating with his safeties and vice versa. If you're the cornerback and you're playing man-to-man, you don't communicate with your safety and say, for instance, well, Minka's going, well, I've got this certain coverage here, maybe cover 4, cover 2, or whatever it is, and I'm playing back, and I'm going to help you out with the man-to-man, and you don't do that, and you miss that route, and the safety comes down to the box and misses the whole route, and the cornerback playing man-to-man thinks you're playing in zone. Miscommunication causes errors, and obviously it causes the other team to score points. So what I looked into today, guys, I saw Grady Brown have an interview. He had an interview with Missy Matthews, and he brought up this key point with about communication, about talking to the team, and getting the fellas to understand that for each play that you need to talk and understand people's certain responsibilities, for that design play. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Nothing will work in this defense. Grady Brown was then asked in the interview with Missy Matthews, he was asked, what is the difference between, coaching in college and coaching in the NFL pros? Now, Grady Brown was signed by Pittsburgh last year as the secondary coach, and he completed his first year with the Steelers, now going into his second year in 2022. So if I bring up his stats or college career, Grady Brown was in his first season of team secondary. He was hired on the February 16th, 2021. Previously served as offensive coordinator for Houston, McInerney State, Old Dominion, and he was along there too with Alabama State, right, back in the day. So in the interview with Missy Matthews, he was asked, what is the difference between playing in the pros and playing in college? And his answer was quite surprising, I found. I didn't know he was going to go in this route, but his answer was it was actually playing rival divisions, because in the college, you more or less play the team once, and that's it, unless you play them again in the finals, if it works out that way, or you play them in the bowl game. But in the NFL, it's playing the rivals twice. So not only do you have to match up with them once, you've got to go up against Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, those guys, Hollywood Brown twice, right? So you got the Ravens twice, Bengals twice, and Browns twice, and that counts towards 6 of your games, 6 total of the 17. And it's quite a high percentage. We all know if you go out there and if you can win 6 of those games, you have a high chance to win the AFC North, right? So that was a really key point. Talked about the pros and the college level was different based off versing rivals more than one time, right? He then talked about also Missy Matthews asked about Grady Brown, asked him about, well, what happened with Joe? How did Joe go last year? And he pretty much said that how Joe was just a legend and he could match up with anyone. And now we don't know if Joe's going to sign. It looks likely that Joe isn't signing at all. I think we've expected that, so we've come to grips with that. He then was asked too. Missy Matthews asked Grady Brown, said, "Who is stepping up in the room in the cornerback room and secondary?" Right, and he gave an answer like pretty much a stock standard answer. I didn't really single too many people out. He said, "Well, the whole room is great," but he did focus on 4 players. He said, "Minka's doing well, Cameron Sutton and Terrell. You need guys like that," and I agree with that. And then he also brought up a good point with Witherspoon. He said Witherspoon blossomed last year and came into his own. So that also might pushes me towards that. They're going to use Witherspoon into that number 1 role this year in the cornerback position. So was quite interesting to see an interview that did have communication from Missy Matthews to Grady Brown talking about the Steelers cornerback room and secondary room and how they need to focus on that. And the focal point, I think, for any defense is communication. Now, whoever wears the green dot, if it's Miles Jack, if it's Devin Bush, if it's Minka sorting him out, if it's also Terrell. Some people have thought maybe Terrell might wear the green dot. That could be a possibility. Whoever puts these ideas together, this defense needs to have a better communication structure than they did last year. You don't want to see these players go 30, 40 yards for touchdowns. You don't want to see the middle of the line not communicate who's taking who, right, on the defensive line. But you don't want to see mismatches as well for the receivers gaining the advantage, going over Sutton or going over second-year player Trey Norwood, or taking on the new player Levi Wallace if he's not accustomed to the situation. So I do like that. I do like the number one thing he said. Well, how do you make this team better? What do you expect? And Grady O'Brien said communication, right? And I agree with that 100%. I'm keen to see what this season can do. I'm keen to see these fellas, this is now, I think, after the Big Ben era, this is becoming more of the defensive team that I think a lot of us love. Like for me, 2008 defense was the best, right? The best. So, and that included Big Ben. But what I'm saying is after this era, after Big Ben era, I think we're moving to something that's going to be quite special. And I think we need to enjoy it. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. And today it was all talking about Immunity Nation. No, I made that up, but communication, right? It's something you need in the NFL. It's something you need in life. It's something you need within on a team, right? To be successful, you need communication. And that happens on all parts of every single snap. If you're not in the right place, if you are not manned up to your receiver that is dialed in the slot, if you think you're doing a different task to what you're expected to do, there's going to be an open hole there, and there is going to be a 40-yard, 50-yard touchdown, right? If you're meant to blitz and you go back and cover, right, and you're not there, vice versa. If you go back and cover and you're meant to blitz, if you can't read what the quarterback is doing, if Miles Jack's wearing the dot and he figures out, well, this guy's coming this way to run the football, and you can't figure that out, miscommunication hurts a lot of defenses, and that's how the football game really works. On offense, you need to confuse the opponent, find their weakest player, and exploit that. So hopefully, guys, you enjoyed that video. I'm excited. I'm keen to see what Sutton and these fellas can do, and I was really happy to see on Steelers.com him going around and preaching, talk to him, and say, well, everyone get together, see what you see, and let everyone else know. There's no point being quiet on the football field. You need to get together. The band of brothers needs to get together. And I do believe that one of the best communicators on the team will be Minka Fitzpatrick at the back, along with Terrell, getting everyone organized, getting those fellas, jammed up on the receivers if they need to play that way. And this is a perfect defense for that, because if TJ Watt is there, that quarterback has no time to think. That quarterback has zero time to think. So if we can start to put, and I say we, but the Steelers can start to put this effort in, and I know they will. and communicate better and get around the football and play as a unit, play as a team. Everyone run to the ball. Everyone get after it. It's going to be scary. It will be scary in week 1 for the Bengals. I tell you that right now. I tell you that. So thank you guys for checking out the video. If you do like the content, hit that sub, hit that like. Myself and Owen are having a lot of fun. We had Wes Euler the other day on a podcast, and that was great. So go back and check that out. But if you enjoy the other videos, just start watching them because we are just having so much fun here. We are really having a good time talking Steelers. And we're in the off season. We're in the off season, right? I get that. But every time I do these videos, I start to put ideas together. I'm like, yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun. So thank you guys for the support, and we appreciate all 1,000 of you who are watching it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you'll do it in time. You'll be fine. But we thank you a lot. And as always, here we go, Steelers. Here we go.